Good morning, evening, afternoon, night, wherever you are. It is Saturday. What is the date today? I don't even know. It's 6 a.m., Saturday, the 3rd of February. I should know that. It was Sarah's birthday 2 days ago. So you'd think I would know these things. We're at the point in our lives though where we go, Christmas was just here, your birthday's just here. What could you possibly want? You have everything. Anyway. Morning, Mr. McMillan. How are you?
I'm good. Everything. Well, happy belated birthday to Sarah.
I'll let her know. It's I think she's 41. I think. Yeah, she's 41.
You should never give away a woman's age.
She doesn't care about that sort of thing. Her auntie put a post on Facebook saying, "Happy 40th birthday," and then one of the comments was like the same, like a screenshot, and then the 40 scratched out and 41.
Oh yeah.
Waddy Devo, Mike Goyne, Heidi Ho neighbours, John Bradburn. Haven't seen that name before. G'day, John. Dale Lotherington, 39 plus. What have you been up to, Greg?
Well, yesterday I put the running boards on my truck.
Running boards?
Well, side steps or whatever.
Yep, okay, yep.
Yeah, I haven't got a picture of it yet, but they look pretty good.
Yeah, cool.
And it's more to protect the bottom of the doors and that from tire spray and stuff. More than to use them as actual step boards or whatever. But they look kind of cool.
Right. Yep. Cool. I saw what we do here is we do have those, but we on the four-wheel drives that get used as four-wheel drives, I suppose you'd say, you would put rock sliders on there. So they're like heavier duty sideboards, like with bigger, rounder metal, so that when you are going over rocks, you can just slide on the rocks and it doesn't damage the vehicle, it just damages the rock sliders.
Right, yeah.
And I thought, hello, where are you going with your bloody new, what's it, that's a Toyota, isn't it?
Yeah, Tacoma, yep. Tacoma. It's not brand new, it's a used one, but it's just new to us.
Yeah, and sure. It looks pretty cool.
Been off-roaded. It's been off-roaded before. I mean, I could see some signs of that on it, but that's fine.
Yep.
It's made for that.
You got to get out there in the snow and do some circle work, mate.
Yeah, if we get any snow.
Aren't you like snowed, not snowed in, but plenty of snow around?
Actually, in the last couple of weeks, a lot of it's melted down and gone away.
Oh, so it's just bitterly cold and miserable.
What's that?
It's just bitterly cold and miserable at the moment, then.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, right. That sounds great.
It just makes you want to go take pictures. Not. It's just it's
good
so
morning, Facebook user. Yeah, I understand that. There's definitely times where you go, well, for us, it's the opposite. It's like, oh shit, it's 40 degrees outside. I'm not going out there.
Yeah.
And you go, I'm going to go do some Astro tonight. Well, when it's that time of year where it's that hot, it's generally not that good for Astro, like right now. And you go, it's 40 degrees today. It means it's going to be like 20-something degrees overnight. No, sod that. Not doing that. No, it's just
because after being up and doing stuff for all day in 40-degree weather, you just want to sleep all night.
With a fan and an air conditioner.
Yeah.
I went up to the high country. When did I come back? Came back on Wednesday, I think it was. Mm-hmm. And I went up there to film that Jackery video, and which is an awesome bit of kit. As I was just talking to you about it before we went live, it really is. It's a great bit of kit for camping. And mind you, you could probably use it for pretty well anything. If you use a generator, you could use this thing. But I went up there to film for that and film for the 4-wheel drive channel, film for the Windell Farm. I went up there and did a lot of filming. Mm-hmm. And I went to Craig's Hut to do Star Trails. just looking at how many people are watching, so I don't spoil the video. But I got up there and went, "This sucks. It's not going to work for Star Trails. Like the orientation of the building was going to make it that you wouldn't go, oh, that's Craig's Hut, because it's an iconic building here.
Yeah.
The only way I could get it to work really would be on the side of the building, so it's just like wood slats and a roof. It's like that's not going to do. So I took some pretty good photos, to be honest, up there with just during the day sort of situation, and then I thought, what else could I do? I haven't got these to show you, but there's one. That's what we call Indian Head. Yeah. So if you imagine that hill in the background, like the pointy bit is his forehead, the big round bit is his nose, and the mouth and the chin, sort of thing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So, so that's a good photo. I like that photo. And then I threw the drone up and took some photos of that. Took some big panoramas with that, and that video will go live, I think, on Monday. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It was a case of I went up there with this in my head. I'm going to plan to do this. I had everything with me, so I could just camp up there, and then got the photo pills out and went, no, this is not going to work.
Yeah.
This was is that Horizon wonky? I knew you were going to say that. And I think even in the video, I've actually spoken about that because there's two different hills here. And it's one of those things that every time I take a photo like this, I go, what's wrong with that? Oh, no, there's nothing wrong with that. But I like what it's doing, and it's not going to piss you off.
Yeah.
Because the hill over this side is like heading down.
Yeah.
The one in the foreground is heading the other way, but it is level. I actually use the spirit level in the phone to get that.
Oh, yeah, I always do too.
Yep. So I went out there to do that, and then went, shit, that's not going to work. Then I just walked around taking some photos. Thought, oh, that's a good idea for a video. I'll do that. Just like what you do when it doesn't work out the way you want it to work out. So
yeah,
I did that, and it was one of those occasions. It hasn't happened to me very often, but it happened to me up there. I was walking it towards Craig's Hut, and these two blokes were walking out, and one of them swallowed a fly and started coughing his guts up. And it happens, man. It happens all the time.
I'm surprised it hasn't happened to you when doing your videos for the Wendella Farm.
Oh, it does.
The freaking flies. Oh,
absolutely, it does.
Yeah,
we just don't see it. You just don't see it. Yeah, I just like you sit there like curled over until you feel the fly coming up. There it is.
Oh, that's so gross. Those things crawl all over shit.
And they go down your throat too. But you see some of the cowcockies way out. Not so like when you get even more rural than what we are, and they basically talk with their mouth like this all the time. They don't actually open it up, so the flies don't go. They don't get past their teeth. Yeah.
That's why bikers never smile.
True, but for I reckon it's probably the third time, maybe the fourth time. And it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it's kind of weird. Like I said, this guy's like coughing up his fly, and I went, just one, and they were talking about a drone, and I said, are you sending a drone up? And they're like, oh yeah, is that all right? And I'm like, yeah, no big deal. So what are you using the drone for? Oh yeah, just YouTube. So yeah, cool. And then the other guy's like looking at me, he's like, you're a YouTuber, aren't you? And I'm like, I'm famous on the internet, man. Do you need my autograph?
Yeah.
No. So I was all excited that this guy recognized me, and it wasn't for this channel, the biggest channel. It was for the forward driving channel.
Oh, is that
right? And he's like, "Oh yeah, you got the one with the 12-volt system and the awning and stuff." Yeah, I said, "Yeah, let's have a crack." And he's like, "Oh yeah." I said, "You don't watch the photography one?" He said, "Oh, do you do photography as well?"
You've only mentioned it on that channel before.
I probably have. I'll probably need to cross pollinate more and more and more.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah,
I
you
really should. Yeah, so I ended up taking some pretty bloody good photos with the drone, which normally with the drone, I've made a very conscious decision to start using the drone more. I've got this awesome drone, and it does really cool things, and it adds a lot. Like you think about that, the tripod video.
Mm-hmm.
The drone definitely added to that video
Oh
because of
yeah,
where I was.
yeah.
And normally I wouldn't have even taken the drone, and it would have just been a talking head on a rock that you wouldn't know where it is besides the photos that I'm taking. So yeah, it's I've just made a mindful effort to take the drone to do these sorts of things. And then I thought, oh, I'll take photos with the drone even more so. And they're bloody good photos. I'm really happy with it. So anyway, you'll see the video very, very shortly. That's what I've been doing. Oh, the other thing that happened, I don't know if you probably do watch the four-wheel driving channel, right?
Oh yeah.
Or some of them.
Yep.
So you know how? Did you watch the other one? Oh, you did watch the other one the other night. How I've got my camp set up.
Yep.
So I'm all exposed. Like if I'm asleep, and I sleep pretty heavily, someone could walk up and just like tap me on the head, you know? Like
Right.
there's no walls around me, or I'm not elevated off the ground. I'm like sleeping on the ground, sort of thing, on a stretcher. That night, after I filmed that, fucking wild dogs came into my camp. I woke up with a dog growling at me at the side of my bloody stretcher. Scared the shit out of me.
I wondered about that when I saw that video. Like you're right there on the ground in the open. I thought there's got to be some wildlife come around here at some point. And sure enough.
Well, I always camp like that. I've always slept like that. The only real addition to that is the stretcher. I would normally just sleep straight on the ground with a swag.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's never been an issue. The only thing with that, if you leave your swag on the ground through the day, you've got to be very careful with it with snakes and stuff because they'll go in there.
Oh yeah.
So you would roll it up during the day. But I've never seen wild dogs in a camp before, and I think it was because where I went there over that Australia Day long weekend, there was shitloads of people. So there's probably a lot of rubbish and food scraps in the bush there. Anyway, it woke me up, scared the crap out of me, and I've like fucking everything is sworn through things everywhere, and it ran off. And then I've gone, I don't even carry a torch with me because I've got that much lighting on the rig. I just went to the back of the car and like flipped all the lights on so it all lit up like daytime, and fucking dogs ran everywhere, man. There would have been half a dozen wild dogs around the camp.
Wow.
Oh, bloody hell. And then I thought, well, what do I do? Like next time I go, I'll definitely take a shotgun, not to shoot them, just to make noise. And just
just to scare them off.
And mind you, there's bounties and stuff on wild dogs. If you shoot a wild dog and you go and hand it in, it's worth a bit of money.
Oh, really?
They're an absolute pest. Like they're the best.
Well, that's like coyotes over here.
Oh, you say you get a bounty on coyotes?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So these are like domestic dogs that have just gone feral. That's what it is.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And they were like good sized dogs, like German Shepherd sized dogs that were running around. So they weren't like little poodles, poodles running around.
Little Yorkies.
Nothing like that. So I've gone, what do I do now? Because I'm in the middle of freaking nowhere. I sleep too heavily to know that they're around my camp again. So I thought, sod it, I'm packing up, and I drove probably 5 k's down the road and set up again. And as I'm driving out, I reckon there was 20 dogs that I drove past with all my lights on my truck, and they're all running off into the bushes. But there's so many of these bloody things. It's just freaking crazy.
Wow.
It was exciting, mate. It was exciting.
Yeah.
What's Dale got to say? You could have 2 special guests on a photo shoot adventure, Shane from Windella Farm channel and Shane.
That's brilliant. Just take different hats, different shirts.
I was going to say, just got to take different hats. That's all. Just different hats. You could definitely do that.
Yeah,
you could definitely do that with the masking in Final Cut Pro, with like me talking to myself. My God, that would be an awkward video to make.
Yeah, it would.
But I speak the same. You wouldn't know it's any different besides the hat.
Yeah.
We had a black bear in our camp. Wow. We've had some nice photos. The last thing I was thinking about, Mike, was taking photos of this freaking thing.
Yeah.
To be honest. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was it was eye opening at the time. It was like midnight, just after midnight is when it happened. Yeah, I
So
woke
what
up
you're
dreaming,
saying,
thinking,
what you're
"Oh, what is
what
that
you,
noise? What is that noise?" I woke up, "Oh, fuck, it's that."
so what you're saying is a shotgun would be a good accessory to take with you for your nighttime shooting.
No, I wouldn't say that.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I don't even know if I will to take one, to be honest, because it's still a pain. Like we have our gun laws here. You've got to find a now way to secure that firearm in the vehicle. You got to be mindful that you've got a gun in the car all the time. Like it's perfectly legal to do it. It's just a pain in the ass, I guess.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I think the the more practical thing, I suppose, would probably be just be like a big old mag light or something, something that really powerful, bright light to get rid of them. That would probably
yeah.
be just the same. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
My life idea of camping is
Talk about a home away from home, eh?
yeah. I tell you what, some of the where I go, some of the camping setups, like the camper trails and caravan setups that people have, it is a home away from home, man. It's
Yeah.
they got showers in them and everything.
Well,
Showers, king
I've
size
seen
beds.
I've seen
It's crazy.
people with motorhomes that have satellite dishes and all this other stuff with them, and
Yep, yep,
yeah,
yep. I joke with Sarah all the time about menopause, and we just joke about it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like an asshole. Um,
it's that
where
little pause.
where I say it's the day that you start telling me, "Oh, I'm going through menopause," is the day that I pack up the camper, get a Starlink roving satellite dish, and I'll see you in 6 months. I'm doing Australia. Introducing the new incredible ice shark.
Yeah,
It's not real shotgun; it's just AI.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I tell you what, I've. Is anyone in the chat here? Does anyone here actually have the S24 Ultra yet? I know there's a couple of guys in the group that do, and what and I belong. I'm a member on a number of Facebook groups for S23 Ultra, S24 Ultra, and I've got to tell you, like all the things that I'm seeing, I could do 2 laps.
Yeah.
What was I saying? So, my gut feeling about this is that you're going to have, and it's always been the case, the hardcore. I've got iPhone tattooed on my shoulder, or I've got Samsung tattooed on my shoulder or forehead or whatever. You're going to get those hardcore people that it could be a pile of pus and they'll still think it's the best thing since sliced bread. And that's just the way they're going to be. It's like a Ford Holden thing or a Ford GMC thing or whatever, Ford Chevy. I don't know. But just your brand loyalty is just paramount. And then what I'm seeing on these groups is that there seems to be a lot of disappointment on this camera, on this phone, and not the AI stuff. Yeah, people say like this thing is no different. My S23 was taking better photos than this, and my S22 was taking better photos than this. So here we go. And what do you think about it, Ron? You're actually a good person to ask because you were taking really good photos before. Colors are off. That's the main thing I'm seeing.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's
the
interesting.
yeah, it was similar to. Ironically, I've watched a few of these videos. They've been popping up on my news feed on the YouTube feed of these guys. They do such a good job. They take the piss out of Apple launches, which we all do, but they do it really, really well. And they do a skit where it's like two marketing guys sitting at a table. You may have seen it, and there's the the boss walks out and says, right, guys, looking forward to your launch tomorrow. And one looks at the other one and says, yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what you've done. And he's like, what I've done? I thought you were doing it. Oh, shit, what do you do? We better put out the same photo, the same phone. And I look at this and I go, didn't Samsung just do this? To me, it's the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
Both iPhone and Samsung. Oh, there you go. I have to go watch that. I might have to get him on actually and have a chat because I don't think I'm going to do it. I don't think there's enough differences in it, especially for what I do here. I think as far as phone cameras go, we're almost at the pinnacle, I reckon, unless something sensational happens.
You'd sure think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Anyway, I'll go and see what Brent has to say. Brent. Died in the little... Okay. Yeah. You know what? I would actually agree with that too. This, that I think the S21 was the first one. It was the first one that I had. And I was super impressed with that. I think that, my honest opinion, is that it takes the best photos out of all of them. I think that the S23 with the Expert RAW had such great potential, and then nerfed the damn thing, and then it was just pus. You couldn't get a good photo out of it. I absolutely agree with that. I think the 21 was a good. Looks fine to me. Better the range. Low light is better. Interesting. 2 times more. The launch I thought was just a bit. It didn't.
There might be something to Scott's statement though, because he's had the S21 Ultra, and then he's had the iPhone 13 Pro, and then he went to the 15 Pro Max.
Yep.
So he has seen both sides of the fence.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you have too. I mean, but I can honestly say I haven't. I have.
No, but he's
never...
used it. He's used it as his daily phone, and I did with the, I think it was S21 Ultra. I used it as my phone for a period there, and I just stopped using it because it was just easier for me to use the iPhone with what I have going on. Yeah, that was the main thing for me. But I thought the camera was fine. I'm really keen to see what Ron has to do because his Astro stuff is the shit. Like he really knows what he's doing. So I'll be really interested to see what he comes up with that camera. Better in the range 3 and 10. I didn't think it had a 10. I thought it was only a 5.
Well, it does the 10 like the iPhone does the 2X. It crops the sensor.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, yeah. To me, that doesn't make sense. I think that from my point of view, the best thing about those cameras were the telephoto. That was, I think they had the best. And then when you went and made it less, I don't know, in my head it didn't work. Anyway,
I think the Huawei gave them a good run for the money there, though.
Absolutely.
On that 30X.
Yeah. So when you're ready, Ron, no pressure, get some photos on.
And we'll look at them tomorrow.
That's right. I was keen to have a chat about, like we've been, at the moment,
It makes sense.
Yep. I've got a lot of gear here that I'm reviewing at the moment, and I wanted to talk about phone accessories today, and we've done it before, and I wanted to, I guess, talk a bit about different levels of gear for different levels of photographers, and I think maybe we'll just divide it into 3 slots, like beginner, intermediate, and advanced, and because I think that the gear that each phase of your photography you would need different things. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Yeah.
So I guess like you just had Hollingsworth, Jack, on your podcast, and I've seen on his Twitter feed different things about accessories, and his opinion sort of went like that a little bit, I think, and it got me thinking: well, do you use them or don't you use them? And then I thought, do we need them or don't we need them? And then I thought, I've got a heap of gear that I'm reviewing. It's going to be awkward if I say you don't need any of it. So we'll start with beginners, maybe, and hold on, we'll have a look at this. Apple Vision Pros. There you go. There you go. Someone bought some.
Yep.
Well, that's true. That's very true. And what you're pushing out with that thing is awesome, mate. I did reach out to them and they said they're not shipping to Australia yet. Because I'm like, you know what I do? This is like the perfect relationship that you and I can have. Small sensor stuff at night. Come on.
Yeah.
Bring it. And then I'm watching what Ron's doing. I'm like, I'm missing out. I can't even buy one. I'm missing out.
Like, and they have nothing like that over there at all. Like, not them per se, but any company.
Not that I can find. I think they're
really?
They're certainly the market leaders, if you like. I don't know who else is in the market. I haven't found anything like that.
Oh, okay.
That does that. It's pretty cool. So, as a beginner, someone just starting into phone photography, what would you recommend that they use as far as accessories go?
Well, number one is a tripod.
Yep.
Get a tripod. That is the best way to introduce yourself to things like long exposure, the things that you can try without any other accessories. Whether it's reheld, which you can do handheld, but you can also do it on a tripod. Or if you want to dive into something like even longer or re-expose or one of those. But I mean, those apps are for, in my opinion, people that are kind of in the intermediate and beyond level. Beginners, I think you need to work on your craft more than worrying about accessories. You know, get the knowledge of the device down, get to know your camera, get to know even the editing and stuff like that before you worry too much about spending a lot of money on accessories, because Devo says Camera Plus. No, Camera Plus can go suck eggs.
And for those outside of Canada, I think what Greg meant to say then, Camera Plus can go fuck themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
You should tell the story behind that, just for people who don't.
Okay, real quick, the story behind
real
Camera Plus and my gripe with Camera Plus is that years ago I bought the app, paid for everything, had all the functions and features I was able to use. They got sold to another company. That other company, when they put out an update or whatever it was they did, you go to restore your purchases and nothing would happen. It just wouldn't do anything. And then it put an update out again, and then it worked for a little bit, and then it quit again. And I'm just getting frustrated with it because, I was able to do macro with it, without any accessories. I was able to do macro, whatever else. And then it kept locking me out for some reason. Now Devo says he's still got the pro features. If I installed it and it restored the purchases fine, then I might still play around with it. I might try it one more time. If he says it's still working, I might try it one more time. But I got so fed up with it that I spent all that money and it wasn't working. So that kind of ticked me off. So that's the story behind that. But to get back on the beginners and what accessories they could probably use is I would, a case and put a lanyard on it so that you can wrap it around your wrist, and then if that way you don't have to worry about dropping it. I've been thinking about that myself because I take pictures over water sometimes, and I'm a little nervous about dropping it or somebody walking by and bumping my arm or whatever.
Yep.
And the last thing I want to do is drop it in water, even though it's waterproof. But yeah, that get to know the apps, get to know how to edit, get to know your workflow, get all that stuff down before you worry too much about accessories. I mean, if you want to spend the money, that's fine. I'm not telling you not to, but
Yep.
I just don't think it's necessary until you really, get a grip on how the camera works, because it is not like a traditional camera. It just works differently.
Yeah. I would agree with that. All the apps that you mentioned in the beginning, then I thought, I wouldn't do any of those.
Right.
I think
Not
they're
not
more
as not
intermediate,
not
as you
in the
say.
beginning stages.
No, I think use the camera, whichever camera you have, whichever phone you have, just use that camera and get an editing program like something like Snapseed, something that's free, doesn't cost you anything more than what you've already laid out, and that's it. And when would you say? We'll just quickly look at these because there's been a few comments here. Have you tried to interval? I'm assuming that you're talking about on an Android phone. Yeah, I've got videos on that, and it works okay. I think with the apps that are available for iPhone versus the apps that are available for Android for long exposure, the iPhones have it hands down. There are some exceptions to, there's not exceptions, but the Androids I think are getting better. He's still pro, yeah, of course, yeah. Mind you, he lost the pro status as well with the Camera Plus. Thank you for your knowledge. Easy as Jono. You sure are, Devo. With ND filter. This is what I'm talking about. This is when they're getting a bit closer, and absolutely they are worth getting, Ron. It gives you even more length to it all. I think that when I've done just the ND in that Expert RAW versus the ND filters definitely look more natural than the ND.
Now, would you say,
Expert RAW.
Shane, that the ND feature built in is basically just like even longer or re-expose? It's just frame averaging?
Yeah.
I mean, it has to be, obviously.
Yeah,
But-
that's exactly what it is.
So obviously a true ND filter, a physical ND filter over the camera will be better because
Yeah,
you have more control over the shutter speed that way and everything else. Yeah.
absolutely. There you go. Definitely, Brent spends so much more time with these phones than what I do. Definitely go and have a look at that. I remember him doing this with a waterfall, like in a rock or something, a while ago
Yeah.
when they first came out, and he explains it really well. I definitely think that the filters are going to give you better results than the ND. That's my opinion. I'm not sure what Brent's is. Camera Plus. The Plus is frustrating.
Yeah.
Thanks, Scott. I need to understand more about white balance, etc. We might even do something on that.
Now, just a word on white balance, while that was there, I mean, that's where a third-party
same.
app would come in handy, right? One that has that feature built in. So,
Yeah,
the usually the stock camera apps don't have white balance. But I don't know about the Android with the Pro part of it, but it probably does. But just play around with it and see what it does.
cool. We'll talk about that offline, Greg. I think there might be something in there for us to do maybe in the future about
Okay.
that. I've got an idea. So for intermediate people, so for the beginners, I think we agree that don't buy anything.
Yeah,
Maybe,
other than
maybe
a
it's case with
tripod.
the lanyard.
Make the
think about-
tripod your first accessory.
See, he's done the update, but he's still got the Pro. Yeah, sucker.
I'm gonna have
Maybe it's a UK thing.
if
don't want-
I put
they
this
don't
in right now, Devo, and if it don't work, I'm coming after you.
Don't worry, Devo. He doesn't leave his house at the moment. It's too cold. See, I would argue with the tripod, I would argue that you don't need it yet as a beginner.
Well, yeah, you're probably right, but at some point, that would be your first accessory. I think it should be.
Yep, I'd agree with that. But I don't think you would need it yet until you're at the point where, and I think that where you would go from a beginner to an intermediate is when everything that we spoke about as a beginner, what you need, when that holds you back. So if you can't achieve something, and I would tell people this with the big boy cameras, don't go buying new cameras and shit until you've outgrown what you have now. There's no point, like buying extra stuff is not going to make you any better at your basics. You still need to accomplish the basics first. Absolutely. If you're a beginner and you're doing star trials, I'm going to say you're not a beginner. I would say that star trials are absolutely an intermediate thing. A beginner is someone who pulls out their phone, takes photos of their kids, then goes on a holiday somewhere and takes photos of a holiday location, takes photos of your dogs, but that's it. That's it. Doing things like long exposure, like star trials, is definitely not a beginner thing. It's definitely a more advanced thing. You might think that you're a beginner because you might not be happy with the results, but that's going to be more of a technique than the gear, if you like.
The stupid thing works.
Yeah, I must admit, I was looking at it while you were talking, and mine's working too.
Well, they must have fixed it.
Yeah.
So I guess
Beginner equals me.
I won't trash talk them too much anymore.
No, I don't hear you trash talking anyone. So it was kind of nice to hear you like trash talking someone. So an intermediate person, I agree, a tripod should be the first thing that you do.
Yeah,
And
okay.
the tripod, how would you see, for me, I was trying to work out the best way to explain this. For someone in my position who gets sent all this different shit, I don't, and I say shit as in like equipment, not that it's shit.
Yeah,
It's just
the
a Aussie
stuff.
thing. Yeah, it's just the stuff. The difference, I guess, for people that do what I do is someone says, hey, would you like to review this microphone? And I go, what does it do? Oh, it does that. Yeah, cool. I think my people would like that. So I'll do that. What I don't do is go then and find every competitor of this thing and go, what else can that brand do that this one can't do? I'm just going to talk about this. So for me, believe it or not, it's a bit more difficult to go, this is the one you should buy because this is the research that I've done to buy this. I've been given this, so I didn't do any research to decide on this. The only research that I've done is about this, not all the competitors about this. So when it comes to tripods, there is 1,000,001 tripods out there, right? And the tripods that I have here are the duck's nuts. They are bloody awesome tripods, and I'm very, very happy with them. Like the Explorer Photo video tripod that I have, that's the best tripod I've ever had, ever. And I just got offered it to review it, and it's a horrendously expensive tripod. It's probably not for phone people, but I think it's at this point here when you're deciding what tripod to buy, you need to have in my opinion, you need to have a good hard think about where you're going with photography. If like the Freewell tripod that I had a video on, was it last week or the week before? That tripod is awesome. It truly is awesome. It's fantastic. It's probably the fastest tripod I've ever used. Like to get it from this to upstanding and a camera on it, it's probably the fastest tripod I've ever used. This has got those, but that's it. Done. It's not like all little clips all the way along.
Yeah, mine's a pain in the ass because it's got one for each part of the legs.
And so does the Explorer Photo. I've never had a tripod that does what the Freewell one does.
Right.
And now that I've got one that does it, I go, this is awesome. This is fantastic. But it's still $250 odd, I think it is. But when I got that to review, I didn't go there and go from someone with nothing to go, what tripod do I want? And go onto the internet and find that there's a gazillion of them out there. So I think tripods can be very expensive. And when you're at the point, you got to think about with a tripod, the only reason that you have a tripod is to keep that shit still. And that's it. when tripods are made, they're designed with that weight in mind of what the maximum payload that tripod can handle. The payload of this is nothing. Any tripod will work with this. Any tripod. I don't care how much of a piece of pus it is. It's going to work fine for a phone. So it's at this point you need to work out where you think you're going to go with photography. Because with Astro, especially with Astro, you can do some really cool things with this, as you know. But you can do so much better things with the big boy cameras. You're going to get a better result. You just are. And I think that the astrophotography with phones is a really nice way of stepping into Astro, and you might be totally content and happy to stay right there with phones, and there's nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. But you might go, I'm really loving this. I'm loving the results. Now I'm being held back by that bit of kit, and now I want to buy a big boy camera. At that point, if you think you're going to be there, you need to keep that in mind when you're deciding on a tripod. Because there's nothing at all wrong with buying a tripod that's an overkill for a phone, but there's plenty wrong with buying a phone for a tripod for a phone just to go and spend even more money later on because it can't take the weight of the other camera. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Sweet.
Yep.
That was a long rant.
Spend once, not twice.
100%. You just summed up what I just took 5 minutes to explain. Yeah. To be honest, when I'm sitting here editing stuff, because when I'm doing videos, when I've got an idea in my head of what I want to do, I'll usually put points down and like cover all those points, but I won't script it. Very, very rarely will I script anything. Even when I do script something for things that I'm not that familiar with, like the Jackery the generator, I'm like, that's out of my ballpark a bit. I need to script this so I get all the proper points down. And the amount of takes that I do out there where I just find myself rambling like an idiot, like that's not relevant. Just fucking turn that off. How could I say that faster?
Yeah.
By once, not twice.
Yeah.
You made my night. I'm not sure what that's relation to. Oh, I think that was a Star Trials. You're not a beginner. That's right. There you go. John, you're not a beginner. You are now intermediate.
Yep, there you go.
A Canadian that's not apologising. That's right. That's right. I've had too much of a bad influence on him.
Yeah.
Can't wait for Apple to add. Oh, God, don't go down that rabbit hole now. Apps, phone, tripod, filters, etc. We'll get to them in a second. I apologise for Greg. Oh, the other Canadian's got your back, man.
Yep. Thanks, God.
You know why? Because he loves Trudeau, that's why. Dale needs to apologise for spelling apologise with S. I've got your back, Dale. It's all right. Don't worry about him. They just spell it wrong in America. Where else? We're visiting one of the Freewell. Cool. Make sure you click the link so I get paid. And there's actually been quite a few people who have bought that tripod, so I'm pretty happy about that. They'll be happy with it too. Feel free to invest in Freewell tripod.
Yeah.
When I released that video, so it must have been this week that video got or just
it was
in the last week anyway. Scott's like, damn it, Shane, they're gonna buy a tripod. Yep. Nothing wrong with that. With all of those things, like what you're talking about there, we're talking about intermediate stuff now. So we're talking about tripods for a second. When those cheap ass tripods are waving around in the wind a bit too much, especially with just a phone on it, add a little bit of weight to it if you can. Like hang a bag from the middle if it's got that sort of functionality.
Yeah.
You can generally hang something from a tripod in the middle of the tripod between all the legs to give it that little bit of stability. But be mindful of what the maximum payload of that tripod is. Last thing you want is to have your phone there taking photos. You got a bit of a bag there, and the tripod can only take 500 grams, and halfway through your photo, the whole thing just collapses because it can't take the weight. So just be mindful of that.
Yeah.
Freewell's for all. What's this, Oprah? And that's a good tripod too. That full carbon tripod from K&F Concepts. I did that one as well. That's a good tripod too. Sarah uses that one almost daily in the workshop. That's all her Instagram reels and stuff that she does on Windella Farm. That's all with that tripod. It's a good tripod. It's very lightweight. It folds down to virtually nothing. It'll take a small DSLR from memory. It's not going to take like a 70-200 lens on it.
Right.
But I reckon that was the tripod. Did I ever tell you about my phone falling down, like the tripod in the background as I'm recording? Down I went.
When you were on the ATV?
No. See you, Ron. I just saw Ron's out of here. I did a video out at Mount Hope, and I had 2 cameras set up. I was trying something new, something that I'd seen someone doing. I thought, that's kind of cool. And I think I did it once, and they went, that was kind of stupid. But I had like 2 cameras set up, and I talked to this one, then I turned, and I talked to this one a little bit, and just so it was easier for the edit later on, So it was flowing a bit better, and it worked. But then I went, that's not me. Don't do that. It's not what you do. But as I'm recording into this camera, I'm watching the viewfinder, and the other camera over here on the tripod. Oh. The good part about that is it was the first time I'd used that camera. It was brand new.
Oh.
And it busted the lens. I was gutted.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I was not impressed. But that was on that K&F concept tripod. Now, I think it was because there was probably at the weight limit of that, and the ground was uneven, but I had it all set out so it was flat, and it was sitting there for a while doing what it was doing, and then a bit of breeze come along and over it went.
That's all. Oh, man.
Yeah. With the Ulanzi ST27. That's the black one, is it, Andy, that rotates, I think? I've got a feeling it is. I absolutely love that one when I had it too. The name certainly sounds familiar, that number. Now I'm just using the MagSafe one from Ulanzi. It's bloody awesome. My post was the order I feel. Gotcha. So I was looking for an accessory in the box, so I don't know what that is. $15 tripod. That's an awesome point.
Yeah,
that's an awesome point. Because I used to say that to people when I was teaching photography with DSLR and mirrorless cameras. Like, why would you spend $100 on a tripod when your camera is like $5,500 worth? It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
And I should have thought of that before. Thank you, Dale. That's a really good point. So tripod, you buy what you want, but just think of where you're going, what you're doing in the future, where you think you're going to go, and how long you want it to last for. Like when we get out there doing, especially the nighttime stuff that I do, shit breaks all the time because you're walking through the bush, over boulders, over rocks, down creeks, all that sort of crap. At nighttime, you drop stuff. It just happens. And that $15 tripod that Dale's talking about versus the Freewell one, I know which one I'd rather drop, and it's going to work when I pick it back up again. That's all I would say about that. So after tripods, what else, mate?
Well, I think apps, yeah, for sure. They could be considered an accessory because
100%.
They will give you a lot more control and functionality over the stock app that comes in the phone. Like with the Samsungs, that Expert RAW. You know, that's not something that you have in the phone when you first get it. If I'm correct,
yeah, you do.
Oh, do you?
Do.
Oh, okay, but you probably wouldn't use it right away unless you've already been using it in the past, when you get a new phone type of thing. But
it is definitely a more advanced part of that phone.
Yeah,
it's not actually part of the camera itself. It is its own app that you navigate to from within the camera. If that makes sense. It's a separate
shortcut,
app,
basically.
Yeah. So on the Android phones, you have like, as you scroll through the bottom of the camera, you've got like video, photo, portrait. Maybe you can add different things into it. You can customize that. But when you go to more, it's like then you got your pro mode and all this sort of business. But Expert Raw is in there as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Everyone
I
has
mean,
it, but not everyone uses it. Yeah.
right. Yeah. But I mean, apps can be very, very well considered an accessory because, it's something that you're getting after the fact. And you
Mm-hmm.
would get whatever app you choose based on its use case, right?
Yeah.
What it could be used for. If it's a camera app, there may be something specific in that camera app you want, like Camera Pixels, for instance, on the iPhone, is the
Mm-hmm.
only app that I know of that does focus stacking, that the shooting
Yep.
it doesn't put it together for you, but it shoots it,
Yep.
and it does it really well.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that's one reason why I always have it on my phone because if I ever want to
Yep.
focus stack something,
Mm-hmm.
especially a macro shot, it works great for that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, but beyond apps, then you're getting into some hardware.
Now, I think with apps, while we're on apps, I think with especially with iPhone, there's just bucket loads of apps. There's so many apps that do basically the same thing. You can go and get like the Moment app, um, um, Camera Plus, Reflex. There's shitloads of camera apps out there
Oh yeah,
that will do basically the same thing, right? So I would think that you would find, and I used to say this to people with the big boy cameras too, when they'd say, oh, what should I buy, a Canon or Olympus or Nikon? What should I buy? I'd say go and talk to your friends and see what they have, because they're all going to take good photos. Go and talk to your friends, see what they have, get the same sort of model or same sort of brand as what they have, because generally speaking, the menus are going to be the same, so that when you get stuck, you can ask for help. And the same thing, I think, with this. So those apps, they all do the same thing, but they all do them slightly differently. And
yeah,
like this Camera Plus that we're talking about right now, I don't use it very often. I've done a couple of videos on it. But if I wanted to know how to do something and I couldn't work it out, I would almost certainly ask Devo how to do it,
yeah.
because I know he's not going to know, and it's good to make fun of Devo. So then I'll go and ask you how to do it. So, but you know what I'm saying, right? Like it's like you in the Facebook group that we have, you could go and ask the questions in there. So just buy an app that you know people are using and you know that it works, because there's plenty out there that are also just pus and they won't work well at all. So just be mindful of that as you're buying them.
Yeah.
Besides the camera apps, what other apps?
Well, then you get into editing. But just to touch on a question Scott had real quick, which app was that again about the focus stacking? It's Camera Pixels, and I think you'll have to pay for the pro version. I don't believe it's subscription, so it's whatever it costs. At least I don't think it is anyway. And it will do that focus stacking quite nicely.
Cheers, Lorna.
So as far as other apps, like, well, you get into editing, and Dale made a comment here too. At higher levels, same goes for paid apps, like $40 for an app for life that is going to be used a lot is worth it, and he's 100% true. Like I can name a few that I've bought outright, like this Camera Pixel or Camera Plus was one of them, because I used to use it a lot. What else has there been? Oh gosh, I can't think of any right now, but I know there's been one or two other ones that I've paid. Well, Halide. I used to use Halide a lot. I paid,
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
the full price for that thing. So, I get all the upgrades for life and everything else. If you find an app that you're going to use a lot, whether it's a camera app or an editing app, and if they have a one-time purchase, do it, because it's worth it. Then you got all the updates for life.
Yeah. So your editing is what's your go-to editing then?
Well, I have basically three. The Photos app. I do edit in the Photos app, Lightroom Mobile, and Darkroom. Those are the three that I go to a lot. There are others that I will use, like Pro or Raw Power. Gosh, and then anything that I want to do that's kind of quirky or different, I might use like Visionist or something like that. Look for real special use cases, like to make it look like an oil painting or whatever. But
Yeah. But they are
yeah.
specific to do specific things. So
yeah,
those sorts of things goes back to the same mindset as your tripod. Think about where you want to go. Most of these apps are going to have a trial period of like 7 days. Most of them do. So try it. And if it's what you really want to do, go for it. And if not,
Yeah.
make sure you unsubscribe from that thing and don't pay for it. Yeah. Mine would
Yeah.
be Lightroom. I think all the conversations that we have in our group, like the chat group that we have around what we think the next iPhone should have or what we think an improvement would be, you kind of touched on it then. I think that the best improvement that iPhone can do right now is the photos editing. But the editing on the Samsung is so much better than the iOS. It just is. There's so much more so many more things you can do in editing in the native gallery app, if you like.
Mm-hmm.
So iPhone can definitely get better with that without doing anything to the camera. It would do well. So yeah, I'll use Lightroom. Pretty much that exclusively. It does everything I need it to do. Your photography and my photography are a bit different, so you need to find what, like I'm doing more dark stuff, you're doing more macro stuff, and it just makes sense that you would use different things to what I would do.
Sure. Yeah.
And everyone's going to be like that. So tripod, apps, what else? Anything? Hey,
Well,
Manos.
Then you can get into lenses and stuff.
Yep.
Oh gosh, with lenses, number one is a macro. I mean, yes, the iPhone since the 13 Pro can do macro, but with a lens, it's so much better.
It is, yeah.
You got the more natural bokeh and depth of field and everything else.
Yep.
Mind you, the 15 Pro is pretty good at it.
It is.
Really,
but
it really
the testing that
improved
I've
on it.
done with the external lenses, it's definitely better still with an external lens.
Yeah.
100%.
And I haven't been able to use an external lens since I got my 15 Pro because I don't have a freaking case for it.
I've got one for the Freewell ones, and I've got one for the Shift Cam ones, and the difference is still significant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Between the native camera app macro and external lens macro, it's still a lot better with the lens. Yeah.
But I
Can't beat
haven't.
physics, man.
Yeah, exactly. But I haven't been able to shoot macro with mine other than with the stock camera app, and it's making it hard as hell to get my freaking book done when I can't shoot macro.
Maybe you can't. You're locked in your house. Of course, you can shoot macro. That's like one of the few things
but not
that you
with a
can
lens.
shoot right now.
I can't use a lens.
That's true. True.
So now I'm debating on whether I should just finish it with shots from the freaking iPhone.
It's very much an inside joke, that one.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw it, I thought I had to put that on the screen. Yeah. I don't want to say that word because I don't want it to appear in my Facebook newsfeed all the time.
Yeah, really. But I mean, as far as the other lenses go, like the telephoto and the wide and all that stuff, do your research, do your homework, watch videos on them. A lot of times they show video taken with these lenses and they're really going to shine. It's the photos that you want to see to get that edge to edge clarity and see how well they do, because video uses a smaller part of the sensor and it's not going to be edge to edge. So you want to see what photos look like with these lenses. Macros, you could be it's pretty much a safe bet, because if you're taking a picture with a Mac, it's going to be blurry no matter what, so it doesn't matter. Not nearly as much. But when it comes to the telephoto or a wide angle, if you want to see how good the lens is, check out a photo taken with it, with that lens, and make sure it was taken with the latest iPhones, because it's only the latest lenses that are going to work on the latest iPhones. A lens that was made 4 or 5, 6 years ago is not going to work on a new phone. It just won't, because the optics, like you said, physics, all the optics
Yeah.
are different and everything else. So,
Yeah.
you know, and really do your homework, because you only want to pay once,
Yeah.
not twice. You know, you don't want to go to you know, AliExpress or whatever and get a $4 lens for your phone and get it home and find out it only takes a picture of, you know, well, basically it's just crap. It's just utter shit is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so you're going to want to pay decent money for a lens, plain and simple, and just do your homework on, you know, and there's different mounting systems for different lenses. So kind of keep that in mind too. In my opinion, the 17 millimeter thread mount is the best one because it's a little more versatile. You can get 2 or 3 different lens companies using that same mount. Moment, Shift Cam, they each have their own proprietary mounting system.
Yeah.
You know, so
Moment,
there's that.
Shift Cam, Freewell, and
Yeah, that's right. Freewell is different too, isn't it?
Freewell. Yeah, Freewell's different again. Yep. But in saying that, I've got here. I've been using the Freewell ones and the Shift Cam ones on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and they work really well. It's a point of similar to the tripod thing. You got to pick that company. There's going to end up being a brand loyalty thing there at some point.
Yeah,
I think
because you're almost forced
the
into
ones-
it.
Yeah, Moment's the ones who have been around for probably the longest, I would say. Moment or Sandmark. I'm not sure.
All
Sandmark
Allo
haven't got
Clip,
anything-
Allo Clip was probably the first big one out there, but they've been in hiatus since just
I was gonna say,
when
they're
COVID
they're
hit.
not doing anything now. Yeah, I'm talking about the ones that you can buy.
Yeah, but as far as
right
currently,
now.
yeah, Moment's probably
Yeah.
been the longest player. Yeah.
Yep. And then it would be probably Sandmark, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe Freewell then. And then the other ones, like Reflex, Shift Cam. Who else is there? Who am I missing? I don't know. But all of those, they're all current companies making stuff. And honestly, with I was saying to Greg before we got on here, I've kind of had lenses up to here at the moment. There's everyone's putting out lenses. That everyone's doing it. You just got to find the one that works for you. Is all. Find the brand that you're comfortable with.
And
Find the
pretty much
gear that
stick
you're
with
comfortable
them.
with, and stay with them. Yeah, absolutely. So, as far as the lenses go, though, on something like S23 Ultra, S24 Ultra, 15 Pros, I'm going to say that macro is the given, that regardless of the macro, a long range macro or regular macro.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, with what these phones can do now, unless you gave me a really significant telephoto lens, I'm not sure what else I would use.
Well, the biggest reason for getting like a wide or a telephoto lens is only to put it on the main camera and take advantage of the large sensor. And that would be, to me,
That's
the
right.
only reason I would get one like that.
That's right.
You know, because you
I've
got the
done
best.
videos with exactly that, and it's when lens companies first approached me and said, "Oh, do you want to do reviews?" And I'm like, "Sure, why not?" And then trying to find a use case for these things was pretty hard, except for when I was doing the Astro, where I wanted to use that wider aperture on a more narrow lens, but I wanted to make it wider on that wider aperture, on the wide apertures. That makes sense, like what you're saying, to get more of the sky. But that's it.
Yeah.
Other than that, I can't find a genuine use case for anything else, really. There might be some portraiture stuff with the telephotos, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, that would work. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Did Jack talk about this? I'm only halfway through your podcast. Did Jack talk about lenses in your podcast? Because he would be the portrait guy that I would go to for advice about taking portraits with a
No,
phone.
he, without spoiling it too much for you, he doesn't use lenses.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Well, that's
He does explain. He does explain which camera he uses for
Yep.
portraits and stuff, and how he uses them. So,
Yep.
look for that.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
that's kind of my. You can tell. And I was going to say this to you before we went live, but now we're live. Just got to suck it up. You can tell, and anyone who's listened to your podcast can tell as soon as you start talking to him, you're like, "Oh my god, it's Jack."
really.
For those, absolutely. It's like, oh, he's a fan. For those that weren't on like watching this channel in the beginning, he used to be like that with me too. Just saying.
That was.
Where's the
That
love
was. I was starstruck.
And now he's like, oh fuck, Shane, are we doing this today or what? Are you Lightroom Classic or moving to Lightroom Cloud? I still use Classic, honestly, on my desktop, because I've just used it forever, and I'm in my head with that. I'm just a little bit stuck like a dinosaur.
And you might want to watch Brian Matiash. I'm going to have him on the show here sometime in the near future, who just put out a video. He did a live yesterday comparing Lightroom Classic to Lightroom Cloud.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, so that might be interesting for you.
I'll go look.
So
That's the in. Sorry, go on.
Well, in my defense of being like a little teeny bopper with Jack, he was a large part of the creative side of designing Camera Plus when it was very first done. And he put videos out showing how to do certain things with it. And I learned a lot from him.
Snap, snap, snap. Was that what it was? Snap, snap.
That's who it was. Tap,
Shoot,
tap,
shoot,
tap.
shoot.
Tap, tap, tap. And it is now, then it became Late Night Soft, but then they've sold it to
That sounds a bit raunchy.
some other country. Late Night Soft?
Yeah. It just has like not camera connotation.
Chicka bow bow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I mean, he was the man, when it came to iPhone photography for me. And the first time I talked to him, I mean, I probably had the cold sweats or something. I don't know, but I mean, he's just a very knowledgeable guy, and and he's a good friend now, and I'm glad that I can call him a friend, and we talk back and forth the odd time. So that's why I probably still seemed a little that way when he was on the show.
Yeah.
'Cause
So
he's
everyone
the
watching
man.
this, go and listen to that podcast. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. You're probably going to learn a few things from Jack as well, but listen to what this bloke has to say and the way he says it.
Well, Debbie, did you hear the compliments he was throwing at Dave and I?
Oh, I know.
Like,
I also thought he doesn't listen to what you guys do. It's absolutely fair, mate. What he said was on the money. You know, deal people. You know what you're bloody doing. Both of you do, and you've always got when you guys are. If you're not listening to this podcast, you're a freaking idiot. If you're doing phone stuff, especially if you've got iPhones, it's once you get through. It's similar to this. Like once you get through this is probably more so. Once you get through all the bullshit that we talk about, you do find little nuggets in here. But
oh yeah,
when you listen to this bloke's podcast and Dave's podcast, when you listen to it, you go, "Oh, am I going to get anything out of this? Don't know, maybe not." You start listening, you go, "Oh, I just got that out of it. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't know that." And before you know it, you're a bit more knowledgeable than what you were an hour before. So definitely listen to the Jack Hollingsworth one, because Greg was like giddy like a schoolgirl.
Next time I'm gonna come on like Reacher.
Oh, what?
Next time I'll just talk like Reacher. You ever watch Reacher?
As in the television show?
Yeah.
I don't think I've watched the show. I watched the movies with Tom Cruise, and they were just really disappointing because I listened to a lot of audiobooks, and I've listened to a lot of Jack Reacher books because they're just like mind-numbingly But
You
but it's
have got to watch the show.
well, I've seen
That guy
the
is
shorts,
more
but
like the book.
yeah, but like, this guy's meant to be like a brick shithouse sized
Oh,
guy,
like he is
and
just
then
jacked.
little Tom Cruise comes in and
Yeah.
does what it's like. That's not how that's not how the book is.
Well, you want actually they're just making the third season based on another book.
Oh, really?
So, oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
The second,
Look, look,
I think each season is
thanks,
based on a
Mike.
book.
Shucks, Mike.
Oh yeah.
We should get back onto this. As an advanced photographer,
Yes.
as an
Well,
intermediate photographer, the other thing I would say that you should get, if you can, the apps that I think that you want to move along with here a bit is things like even longer, things like re-expose, things like definitely Lightroom. We discussed that before.
yeah.
So get those apps that are a bit more advanced. Yeah.
Yep.
So as an advanced photographer with phones, what else would you get, or what else would you or wouldn't you use?
Well, I mean, you can look on the video side of things. You can get cages, that sort of thing. That they can be used for photos too, not just video. But I mean, you could start spending a lot of money, on some of these accessories.
Yep.
Then, okay, here's one. On the video side, you could start shooting ProRes or Apple Log, and then get into the color grading and all that stuff in post. I mean, there's a lot you could do as an advanced user. Yeah, PhotoPills, it's a phenomenal app. I finally bought it like a couple of months ago or so, and it's fantastic. But yeah, things like that are integral for planning your shoots. I've always been kind of like I am on my podcast. I fly by the seat of my pants, but it's time now to maybe start planning ahead. Rarely do I plan a shoot. Sometimes I do, but it's a rare thing, and I think I need to do that a little more. One of the things I said on the podcast earlier this year is that one of the things I want to do this year is make a short film. And I want to take advantage of the 15 Pro Max with its Apple Log and all this stuff.
Yep.
I edit my video, my serious video. I edit in DaVinci Resolve, and that's a big boy editing app.
Yep.
So I want to start doing that kind of thing. But that's the kind of thing an advanced user would do. I think is plan your stuff ahead of time. Maybe get into some more serious gear like cages or whatever for the video stuff. For photography, you should have a decent tripod, so you shouldn't have to buy one of those. Lenses, I mean, pretty much at the intermediate level, once you get the lenses you're going to use, that's it. You don't, as an advanced user, you don't really have to buy them anymore unless you want to complete the set. Then you're looking at a lot of money. But
I think when it comes to, like, you look at the group that we have on Facebook here, and the people that are in there, we've got 4,000 members in there. That's pretty cool, isn't it?
yeah,
And it's a bloody good group. Like, you look at some of the photos and you start seeing the same names come up with some ripper photos, like Ron, like Dale. And in my head, I go, those are the guys who are the advanced guys. There's others in there, don't get me wrong, but they are the
some of the
advanced
stuff
shooters.
Dale does with his time lapses and things like that's advanced stuff right there.
100%. So I think when it comes to gear for those sorts of things, and for what you do with your macro stuff, I think at this point you're probably going to bring lighting into your macro stuff when you become more advanced.
Yep.
And I think with the Astro stuff, planning is so much a bigger part of Astro to get the good photos. Like when a new phone comes out, I kind of go, let's just see what it can do, and I'm really just focused on what the camera can capture from the stars. It's not so much about planning. I probably should do some more videos about planning for this sort of stuff, and getting a better photo from the planning rather than just say this is what this phone can do.
Yeah.
But I think the planning is a big part of it. Dale touched on it in a comment a minute ago. I don't think it's level 4. I think that's an advanced thing. I don't think there is a level 4 with phone photography. Come on, Dale. But I think once you've got to the point of, I'm taking some pretty good photos. I've planned these astro shots really well. I'm capturing the stars really well. I'm doing a light painting technique that I've mastered now. How can I make that better? And it's things like what Dale's talking about here with the tracker and then stacking. There's a lot more manipulation that happens in this afterwards. And I think that is where you're at like the peak of your craft when it comes to mobile phone photography. Because this is a really small niche, what we do here with the astro stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's Dale's there and Ron's there. Like they're right there.
Mike Golan's pretty good at it too.
Absolutely. Mike's another name. Absolutely. He's like, when I look at the photos on the group and I see the star trails, I go, that's Mike. Straight away.
Yep, you can pretty well tell, yeah.
Yep. And same with Dale. But Dale's is, you can tell because that's his editing technique that he uses. And you can tell with Ron because of the way he light paints or doesn't light paint. You can just tell it's Ron's photo. It just works.
Yeah.
It just works really well. My last time lapse was 2013.
And that just made me think of something, not that comment per se, but like that Devo just put, but what we just finished mentioning was another part of the advanced part of it all is finding your niche. You know?
That's a good point.
Like some people, like look, Andy Green, absolutely phenomenal.
Absolutely.
At long exposures on the shoreline.
Yep.
Dale and Ron and Mike with their star trails and their astral work, and yourself included in that. Me with my macro stuff. You find something that you really like to do. That's when you're going to get good at it because you're going to do it more.
Yeah, 100%.
And
Scott Baker with his occasional photos of the shoreline with snow.
Oh yeah, with the
and sand and salt
with
in
the long
tripod.
sunsets sunsets and stuff. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Makes me jealous. I got to get my ass out there, but we're all nothing but clouds all the time, and it pisses me off.
It's funny, like I think when you're congratulations, Scott, by the way, on closing all your rings. I see that every day. Mr. McMillan, we need to talk about these rings.
These ones? I'm working on
those
it.
ones.
Well, Scott probably has his red one set at like 43 calories.
It's 7:20 in the morning here. I did my exercise before we even went live.
I seen you went for a 3-point-some kilometer walk.
That's right. I totally forgot what we were talking about this then. Oh, I think with when we find that niche, like mine is obviously astro and probably a bit of long exposure stuff, a little bit. And then when I listen to someone like Jack talking about portraiture, I kind of go, fuck, why would you do that? But he probably looks at it and goes, "Oh, just take photos of the stars with your phone. What a stupid thing to do." You got to find your own niche of things to satisfy yourself. And once, like what Greg was saying, once you're happy with and enjoying doing what you're doing, you'll become so much better at it.
Yep.
I
Just
like
do it more.
So much to do astro. I can tell you what. There's a guy that is he a mate? I suppose you call him a mate. I haven't seen him for a while, but we certainly talk often enough, like online. But he doesn't live that far from me. He lives, I think, over towards Bendigo, which is about an hour and a half from me. And he's got a YouTube channel called Nightscape Images. His name is Richard Tatty, and he does amazing photos. I'm just going to find it here.
But he uses the big cameras, right?
Yeah, it's all big camera stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll just share this other screen here. He's very, very talented photographer.
Yeah. That's cool.
And he has it's very cool. Then he has a YouTube channel where he does tutorials on doing this stuff. And it's what I like to do, and I've tried to do this with other photos before, is replicate what I've done with the big boy cameras with my phone, and it does work. But I think I can make it better, and I think certainly this year I want to do more of that. Not just this is what the phone can do, but this is how you can do this sort of thing with your phone. So I can tell you now that photo there with the shack, there's a lot of technique in this photo. So
oh yeah.
he would absolutely be using a star tracker for the night, for the sky part. And then there's the lighting inside the building. That would be a separate photo. The light painting on the outside, there's probably 6 or 7 photos in just the light aspect of that, and probably 30 photos in the sky. And he's brought them all together in Photoshop and ended up with this. And I look at this and I go, you can absolutely do this with a phone. Probably not as good as this. In fact, it's safe to say not as good as this, but you could definitely do it. And I think I'm at the point now where I don't want to just talk about what the phone can do. I want to show this sort of thing, how to do this sort of thing with the phone. I think there's something there, for that. But definitely go and check him out. Like you pick up, especially for someone like Dale, go and have a look at Richard's YouTube channel. He talks about the planning. He talks about how he stacks. He talks about his trackers and stuff. You'll definitely learn a bit from there. Oh, you follow, like say. Oh, there you go. Yeah. So anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about with him. How long have we been talking for? Way too long. We should probably wrap it up and get on with the day. I can feel Sarah walking through the house somewhere. She's awake now. All right. Oh, so what I was going to say, the reason I was showing you Richard there is when it says where Kathy has gone, I like my sleep too much for Astro.
Oh, yeah.
When I first started doing Astro, I was setting an alarm. I would go out there with photo pills and go, at 2 o'clock in the morning, the Milky Way is going to be there. Here's the subject. I'm going to set my alarm for 1 o'clock, go out to there, take the photo, come back, go back to bed. And I was doing this like every day for months.
Really?
Months. Every day. I was tired as, man. And it got to the point where Richard was like commenting, Shane, you're addicted now. Shane, you're addicted now. No. But it's awesome. I'm loving it. Yes. Anywho, let's get out of here, dude. Thanks for coming on. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Yes, thanks, everybody, for playing along.
Hopefully someone got something out of it. And it wasn't just you and I catching up to say good day.
Right on.
All right, bud. Have a good one, guys. We'll catch you later.
Right on. See you, guys.